Hi everyone. Thank you so much for the amazing response in two of my Facebook accounts regarding the conversation and description of artificial intelligence, which we actually found in Ramayana and Mahabharata time. Not only that, we found that in a couple of other scriptures and definitely a few bit of other places as well. Today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about a little bit away from Bharatbash towards Africa and try to understand that what are the kind of connections that we have with African culture and Bharatiya culture. Well, for all the people who call themselves as Indian, India is a given name. I'm sure that all of you know that India is a given name by whom and which kind of activities we did so far so good. But as a name suggests from Oxford Dictionary, kindly take a look what Indians means. Just check the meaning of Indian in Oxford Dictionary as per that dictionary meaning. Okay, and from I think from that perspective, tomorrow onwards, maybe you will start calling yourself as Bharatiya instead of calling yourself as a Indian. Ukrainian call themselves Ukrainian. Russians call themselves Russians. Definitely Egyptians call themselves Egyptian. German call themselves German. So why Bharatiya will call themselves as Indian, which is a given name? Anyway, I'm not going deep into that. Rather, I'll be digging today some facts and figures. Some said that long back when Muhammad Ghazi attacked Bharatbash, the Somnath temple, the Shiva temple, 17 times. Why he did that? Because in Somnath temple, he used to get a lot of treasure. Because in our culture, before we start anything, we do Bhumi Puja, which is we worship the land and we have a tendency of giving gems and jewelry under that particular temple. Because we are giving gems and jewelry under that temple, Ghazi used to attack Somnath temple multiple times to rob those things so that they can become, of course, much more, you know what I mean. Okay, I really don't want to go into that, but my discussion is different. This Bhumi Puja, interestingly, is a part of African culture. How many of you know that? Before they start anything, they do Bhumi Puja. That means they worship the land and they have a tendency of giving gems and jewelry and they put it under the art itself. And that's a fact, and you can cross check the culture. So Africa is a continent. You need to understand they have got multiple countries, different culture, which is similar with each other and sometimes different with each other, because in each and every region when you move, your language, your pronunciation, your style of food, your consumption becomes different. তো প্রত্যেকটা দেশ রাজ্য মুভ করলে আমাদের খাবারের পদ্ধতি, খাবার পদ্ধতি এবং আমাদের যেভাবে আমরা লোকের সাথে মিশি, যেভাবে আমরা কথা বলি, সেগুলো প্রত্যেকটা জিনিস চেঞ্জ হয়. So depending on that, I'm giving you a few bit of facts and figure. Well, I give you a small fact from Somnath temple. Now I'm gonna give you according to their own record of Egypt. Hope you understand what is the country called Egypt, right? Okay, so Egyptians, according to their own records, Egyptians have understanding that they came from a mysterious land. And according to their hieroglyphic, if you look at their structure and if you can read that, you will find out from Queen Helsitop at Dar el Babri, if I have pronounced it properly, that was the gateway from where they feel that it is a gateway from where you can go to Adobe. So it's a gateway towards Adobe, right? Now, why I'm giving you this example, in that particular hieroglyphic, if you go through, you will find out that they have a very deep understanding about Bhumi Puja. They had a very deep understanding about nature, love nature, and then definitely go for several deity. So I'm going to take few bit of those small deity names These are very easy to pronounce and easy to understand, so that you can also cross-check it on your own, so that you can understand the similarities between Bharatiya deities and gods and similarity between the Africans. Okay, fine. The first thing I'm gonna take is Egyptian lord called Amum. It is pronounced as Yamamu, Yamunu, or Yamun. Okay, so this is a description of a lord who has got enormous similarity with Indian gods. I'm going to take another name of another god of them, which is Autumn. Autumn have got a similar attribute like one of our god called Shiva. So Autumn is actually responsible for killing all the negativities, destruction, and definitely bringing peace upon earth, which is just similar to our Shiva. Now, when I'm digging all these, when I'm giving you all these inputs, you need to understand the very basic part of it. This information is so old that in today's world, because of lot many cultural gap, lot many things are actually destroyed. So it's very difficult to explain these things. I'm trying my best to explain the similarities so that you can understand under our skin, we are all same. Okay. Next deity I'm gonna take is actually the pronunciation is like Pitta, but the spelling is Ptah, who have got similarity like Brahma. He stands or sits on lotus, and he is responsible for creation, the ultimate creator. Okay, which is our Brahma or Lord Brahma, and he has got long beard, like a long দাড়ি যাকে বাংলায় আমরা বলি, সেটা এই গডের ছিল, যার ফলে এখানে একটা সিমিলারিটি আরো বড় খুঁজে পাওয়া যায়। দেন Sheshat is interesting. Like, she is goddess of knowledge. She have got a harp which she plays, goddess of music, goddess of wisdom. কার কথা মনে হচ্ছে? Saraswati. You are right. So goddess of wisdom in Bharatiya culture is Saraswati, which is similar with the Egyptian goddess. Egypt always worship Surya. In their language, it is Ra. Ra is the sun god. I'm not sure how many of you read the Egyptian very old scriptures. You will find out a lot of stories are written on the top of this god called Ra, which is our Surya Dev, and they have Surya Namaskar as a ritual as well, which you can find out if you really dig into it. I can't actually read those scriptures, but yes, I can understand Sanskrit. From there, I would have probably given you all these kind of small bit of information. This is not knowledge. These are all information, to be very honest. You need to extract it. Well, then we have another similarity with a god called Shakhet. Shakhet is similar to our demigod or god called Narsimha. He had the same exact similarity and the power and the anger, just like similar stories which actually happened with Prahlad. You can find the same replica over there in Egyptian scripts. Wow, interesting. Then we have got Sobak. Sobak is actually called as the Naga clan. I think I did one live earlier regarding the Naga clan. Naga doesn't mean snake. Naga is a kind of clan who have got different kind of powers and abilities. The same similar kind of power and abilities has been actually described in Egyptian scripts as well. So if you look at this culture, this structure, fascinating, mind-blowing structures you can find out. Not only that, if you dig a little bit deeper, you will find out there is a book. The book is called the Book of Dead, wherein you will find out a character called Baz. Baz is just like our Yaksh, who have got enormous power to protect the wealth, and he is responsible for wealth, money, prosperity, just like Kubera. Yeah. So that kind of similarities we can also find out with another culture, with our culture. Now, why all of a sudden I'm jumping from Bharat through Egypt, and I'm going to touch upon Nigeria as well. I'm going to touch upon Tanzania as well. The reason is, lot many of my friends who are from that part of the world, they say that we know that there is a similarity because we love you. I love you too as well. I love all the African brothers and sisters. So they requested me if I can touch upon a little bit about all these kind of similarities, and I'm really happy to do that. Whatever knowledge I have got, all yours. Well, then let me dig into another god, which is from West African part, called Aze Shalugu. Aje Salugu is the god of money and treasure, and he can have form of male and female both. And if you look at that female part of it, we can actually have a similarity between the goddess Lakshmi, which is our Bharatiya culture goddess, the money giving goddess, if I may simplify it, who is responsible for the wealth, right? And if I look at the male part of it, they have got a similar activity, similarity like Kubera, who used to have a big, very big city made with gold. Oh my God. So we are talking about Lanka? No clue. Man, seriously, no clue. But to be very honest, we have got this similarity. And it is said that from the land they have actually went through, they have touched upon, they are blessed by these city of gold. Anyway, then we have got another god from Nigeria called Babaluae, which is a god for all the herbal medicines, Ayurveda. And he have got a structure and a description which is similar to the kind of dress that is actually used by Shusruth, and definitely connected with Vishnu. It's a kind of mix which actually happened because of cultural difference. But yes, definitely this god is amazing. He has got enormous power, and he always insists to go with Ayurveda, which is Bharatiya Ayurveda, which means that in earlier days, probably we used to have a lot of herbal medicines which used to cure us. And we know that. Of course, we know that. From নিমের দাঁতন টু কোলগেট, আমরা সবাই এই গল্পটা জানি কিভাবে আমরা সেখান থেকে শিফট হয়ে আজকে क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है, क्या आपके टूथपेस्ट के अंदर नीम का गुण लगा हुआ है. We know all these kind of corporate stories, but the fact is fact, right? Anyway, Yeshu is another god who is from Nigeria. This is fascinating. This god used to connect from man with the adobe. He used to travel between both the worlds, just like a characteristics of our Narad. Narad is another character who used to travel between the mortal world and the Vishnu Loka, used to communicate with all the rishis and the devatas, and from Dev Loka to Vishnu Loka. He used to be that kind of messenger. I can touch upon the Greek mythology as well. I am not going to do that because tonight is dedicated for the Africa. Okay. Then we have Oba, the Orba, who is goddess of river, and she took birth from the biggest creator, destructor, and a holy figure who don't have any kind of creation, don't have any kind of imagination. People cannot describe him. That is Swayambhu. I don't know. Maybe we can find a similarity from that particular god with Shiva. Shiva is like that. That's Swayambhu. And Ganga, we treat Ganga as daughter of Shiva. So probably that's another amazing connection. So we are talking about culture and cultural connectivity. Well, then, if you know Sanskrit, few bit of amazing clans. I would love to touch upon a language called Swahili. Swahili and Sanskrit is kind of similar. Okay. How they are similar. Like, if you look at the entire African continent, they, in earlier days, they used to call it as Shankhadipa. This Swankhadipa or Swankhadipa, whatever is the pronunciation, it means that a conch shell, which is a big island, very big island, because Africa is actually big. So from the perspective of the rishis, it is said like that, and the land of Africa is actually deeply connected with this Sanskrit language. Now, shall we come to a conclusion that this Bharatvarsh and Africa is well connected with each other? Yes, true. So those people came from Bharat? No, that's not true. As per my small understanding, if you look at Bible, if you look at any other culture, if you look at African culture, the land of Africa is the starting phase of birthplace of human being. So it may happen from Africa, some of the people came down towards Bharatvarsh and probably they mixed up with our culture, and hence we found a lot of similarity between their god and goddess with our god and goddess, and it's a mix of culture, food, traditions. If you look at their food, you will find out the same similar kind of food culture in Africa and in Bharatvarsh, right? So I don't know how many of you read history. Go to Chandragupta Maurya. You will understand how big Bharatvarsh used to be. Okay? So you need to understand the cultural mix that we have. Somehow, because of so many reasons, we have so many different countries nowadays, so many time zones. But in earlier times, it used to be kind of similar, and people used to travel without any kind of passport. So of course, that's the reason Yuan Shang can travel and he can come in Bharat, and he can, of course, mix with those culture, take some knowledge, go back to China, go back to places, and then share all those wisdom. So today's live was basically about these god and goddess, the similar kind of culture and mixing of culture. And the reason I took one very interesting subject, one of my very dear one, he requested me talk about the Nagas, why and how the Naga surname came, and how exactly Naga is related and relevant with the epics. For all of your information, those who don't understand what is epic and what is mythology, I was talking to one, I was chatting probably with one of the person from the game development field, which is our field. He is from some another company. He was sharing that there was a game which was actually made from epic, which is not. That is actually a storyline created by somebody else. Epic means which actually happened. We don't know the exact time, year, right? And the places. Mythology means imaginary. Now, because Bharatvarsh was invented by many different people, some of them said that you guys are actually talking, those things are mythology. Okay, so that's not mythology. This is the human history. This is the culture. This is the epic. Mythology means it may happen. We don't know. It may happen. Okay, so which is mythology? First you know that, and then kindly comment in the comment box. And then definitely when you look at these African god and goddess, you need to understand how culturally rich Africa is. Not only culture, definitely with the richness of gold, silver, coffee, natural resources. Man, you need to understand this land of opportunity. Bharatvarsh and this land of opportunity can go hand in hand together. There are multiple number of business opportunity which is there, and if any one of you feel that it can be explored, I do it on a dedicated basis, giving business opportunities to the MSMEs, SMEs and startups. Feel free to communicate. Now in this kind of discussion in live, I am sharing such kind of information. Until unless you make money, until unless you go there, until unless you mix with them, you will never understand their richness, their culture, and how they are welcoming you in their land and how they hug you. So for all the brothers and sisters of Africa, this was my dedication. This was dedicated to all of you, and definitely look forward to talk more about your culture and This is not the end. I found a couple of interesting facts about the herbal medicines which actually used to be done by the Swahili people. I'm gonna do another live. You are right. Well, history, how will you study? Because in books there are manipulated facts. You are right. So for books, for all the book lovers, let me give you one single fact. Never ever read one book, read multiple books if you really want to know the facts and figures. I did that in my life. I do that in my life. I never ever trust only one book. It is written by maybe 4 or 5 people, or maybe one guys, or maybe 12 guys, doesn't matter. Books are written by human. So you need to understand from one subject, you need to multiply yourself into several different subject matter and then come to your own conclusion. Right? As I said earlier, you can get information. How you can become knowledgeable completely depends on your IQ level. If you don't have that IQ level, there is a process how to improvise it. Try to understand how to read a book very, very fast. There is a process. You don't need to read like the, childhood times, like you're reading the book from maybe chapter 1 to chapter 12. I don't do that, to be very honest. I read the book very fast, very fast. Okay. So probably within half an hour, 12 chapters are done. Then I go between the lines, because when I'm reading it, I am not reading each and every point of it. I'm reading the entire book as a whole, understand the topic, understand what he or she wants to say, and then I pick up the important things and then I come to a conclusion. So that takes approximate a day or maybe 1.5 days for me to read the entire 12 to 15 chapters. It's the easiest way to read a book. Whether it's a story book, it's a information book, it doesn't matter. So that's how you can read it fast. Yeah. So my yesterday live was regarding AI. Tomorrow or maybe day after tomorrow, I'm going to talk more about artificial intelligence and few bit of science from our own epic, and explore a lot more different culture, picking up clue from all those kind of culture. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for giving these comments.